Howdy, folks, and welcome to the Daily Coin. My name is Rory, and today is Friday, April the 15th, 2016, and I have the most distinct honor of welcoming back to the show, I should say, somebody who has been fighting the good fight, and I want to just thank you profusely, Mr. Bill Murphy from LaMetropoleCafe.com and one of the founding members of GATA.org. How are you today, sir?
Great, Roy. Thanks for getting a hold of me. I really appreciate it.
Well, I'm so glad that you're able to make this happen, and we're just going to get right to it, and I certainly appreciate you being here.
Well, this is a pretty exciting time, actually, because silver's trading like it hasn't in years. And we'll see what it means, but we can get into it. But it's potentially just so explosive. It's incredible.
It really is amazing what's happening, and it's really been going on for several weeks. And now that,
well, for me, silver. I mean, I will not. I mean, you maybe I have to. For me, it's silver. It's just been the last 4 days. It's been the whole difference.
Okay. So
I mean, we can discuss it, but I mean, in the sense of what's happening. But it's this is all I do. So.
No, go ahead.
I'm not saying it right, but I'm just saying this is the way I look at it. There's all kinds of ways to look at this stuff.
What are you seeing right now, though, over the course of the past 4 days, Bill?
Well, basically the way silver shot up and up to 16, and then the way it traded against gold, and it held up, and then yesterday when gold gets smashed again, it held its own, and it's challenging a breakout point at 1650. It closed at 1632 the other day. This afternoon, it's moving up. Meanwhile, the gold cartel keeps selling and selling. The silver open interest is going up 4,000 contracts a day, and only 10,000 from all-time high. They're trying to stop it. They've taken gold down ahead of this April 19th Shanghai deal with the Chinese market, physical market going into action, and they've taken gold down predictably right after an emergency Fed White House meeting, and the stock market's very quiet. It just smells like something big is coming down the pike here.
Well, I mean, do you think that the situation with Deutsche Bank being coming to light in the past couple of days, do you think that may have something to do with it?
Well, it's interesting from GATA's standpoint, having worked on exposing the manipulation of the gold and silver market for 17 years, to see something get out there that says, boom, guilty. This bank has been manipulating the silver market and then the gold market also, and they're going to turn on the other banks, which ought to be, the rats are cornered, and it really could be quite exciting. What it'll really mean, you got to wonder, because of the way silver's trading so differently. Something's going on, and whether that is a big effect behind the scenes and has got people all excited, we don't know. But boy, after being, silver in the tank, I call it, as an anchor around it all these years, and to see it show signs of potential spectacular life, it's exhilarating after being so morbid for so long, and whether the latest lawsuits, and the verdicts against Deutsche Bank will be a big deal. I sure hope so. I mean, and it at least shows what God has been talking about to some degree. We've been right on the money. Of course, we knew that for 17 years. I don't know what the Louis Lumps have been thinking and talking about it, all our critics. I don't know what they say about this. Oops. But it's the real key will be if it affects the U.S. market price. That's the key, and what they're able to do on the COMEX, and does it explode? That's where all the damage has been done all these years. And if silver can take off from here and then get through 1850, I mean, it could go up so fast people will not believe it.
So you think that the first hurdle, in more of a not an insignificant way, but not a real significant hurdle, is 1650, and then the real hurdle is at 1850. Is that?
Yeah, that's
right?
Exactly correct, Rory. And for me, short term, I mean, silver just doesn't come back. I mean, normally J.P. Morgan and the gang would have destroyed the price after a run up. It's happened 7 times in a row. That silver went up like it just did the other day, up 59 cents, and within the next day or two, they took it right back down. And this time it hasn't happened, and we're close to taking out Wednesday's high, which might even be more important than 1650 right now. If it can close above 1632 today, in the spot price, I mean, it would be just something that's so different. It's hard to explain to people. But, when you watch this stuff every day for years, and you see something like this, you go, wow, something has changed dramatically. And, of course, what we all want to see is that explosion, but you got to get there first.
Yeah, we all want to. I just want to see it stabilize and not constantly get beat back down to where it was. I mean, and right now I'm looking at one of the charts, and it's saying, and it's just after 11 a.m. Central on Friday, and the bid is 1625 and the ask is 1635. And you're saying that if it holds above 1632,
Well,
then
there's a different basis for some reason, the prices on the Kitco, for example, vary from the COMEX, which is the important one, and that's at the moment 2 cents higher than the Kitco price. So the point is, you're right there, and we've had a high today of 1631.
okay.
Ironically enough. So if it can move late and take that out, I mean, it's just it unleashes something, the potential of silver, which has been held in what I call a penalty box for years. It's just been a joke. It can unleash a price move on the upside that is just going to stun people.
Now,
And
go ahead.
But no, you go ahead.
Well, I wanted to kind of look at the Deutsche Bank situation because, after several years, Goldman Sachs got a slap on the wrist of a little over $5 billion fine for the
Right.
mortgage-backed security nightmare that they created. I mean, they created it, period.
Yep.
And that was proven in a court of law. And now that Deutsche Bank has come out and they have admitted in a court of law, yes, we've been rigging silver. A couple of days later, yes, we've been rigging gold.
Yep.
And we're naming HSBC and Scotia Makata as our partners in crime. And do you think that we're going to see the same type of Goldman Sachs slap on the wrist and be business as usual? Or, Bill, do you think that the April 19th Shanghai gold futures market is going to play a part?
Well, that's a big mouthful because so far, I mean, the damage is done. Of course, they've got them what's going on in the fixes in Europe, and it's banks, and of course, where's the United States? I have to laugh. Goldman Sachs $5 billion, and okay, business as usual. Who's going to jail from Goldman Sachs for doing that? How many people?
Nobody.
Absolute farce beyond comprehension. And it's $38 million for Deutsche Bank after all they're losing everywhere else. It's like a nothing. The big deal will be them turning on each other and what comes out publicly and what reaches in the public domain and so on. And silver, 5 years the CFTC looked into what Morgan and what was going on in the United States. What did they find? Nothing. And what's going on here is, I don't know, pick a number, 10, 50 times bigger than what Deutsche Bank has just been cited for. It is off the charts what is being done here. And the question is whether the new revelations, which at least to some degree have proved Gada correct and all the other people that have kept screaming about this all these years, is whether it makes its way into the U.S. markets. And it's all going to be about the physical market, taking these bums out. If it is strong enough and the buying keeps coming in and the bad guys get overwhelmed, it's going to be a big deal. Now, as far as the Shanghai market's concerned, it can't hurt. Nothing that has surfaced publicly over the past many, many years has made a difference. Not one thing. Now, the funny thing is nothing will mean everything, and then all at once it's all going to mean everything. And that's what I see coming at some point. It won't be one thing, but the cumulative effect of all these things the gold cartel, as we call it, has done, are going to come home to roost, and all the different shenanigans, which is too much to go into, going to cause the bad guys to blow up. And are we getting to that point? Will the Shanghai, physical market kicking in be the tipping point? It very well could be, and but it's all mounting against them. And what has come to my light the past many months that I've been writing about is that we have an end game scenario for this gold cartel, and it started the end of last year, and we saw it when the HUI bottomed below 100 that one day when it went down 7 points for no reason, and then it's gone up 100 points since then, and we saw it since the bizarre. Frankly enough, when even though these lawsuits were going on, we had the price was 14.10. It went to 13.58 in seconds. That was the silver fixed price for the day. Price went right back up. It was a total fraud, and a perfect example of how right this lawsuit is. So I think the fun thing is that after so many years of misery, so much excitement is on the table, and certainly the silver shares have been showing that all year, regardless of the price of silver. Take a company like First Majestic, that's one of the few silver companies giving God of the time of day, going from $2.40 to $8.
Yep.
And silver's hardly moved. And it's right now, as we speak, it would close in new high ground. I mean, so the excitement here is way up there, and I'm expecting Newton's law to kick in. For every action, you get an equal and opposite reaction, and that would be just silver to go bananas, and for people that are involved in it to suddenly become happy campers.
Now, is silver going to lead the way, lead the charge, and start pulling gold higher? Because historically, hasn't gold always led the charge?
Well, that's up for debate. I know recently, of course, the gold-silver ratio has gone from 83 to 76, and below that, things are changing. I mean, silver is so undervalued to gold, and of course, that's what we call the gold cartel's kryptonite, according to my colleague James McShirley. I mean, they are so petrified of silver losing control of it, because what it'll mean, that they've kept it, we call it in this penalty box. They've attached an anchor to it. They magnetize it at 15 and 14 to go down. And all of a sudden, the past few days, it's not trading like it has for years, not months, years.
Yep.
And we have a shot here for something spectacular. And it's that's why today's price action was so important, was if it can close well. It sets things up for next week that could be quite eventful.
So let's kind of theorize here for just a second and just say that silver closes at 1628. It doesn't hit the 1632 mark. What would that potentially mean? And I know you don't have a crystal ball, and I'm not asking you to do that, but what would be the potential for Sunday evening when the market reopens?
Well, this is when you audit, like in other markets, free markets, and maybe this is only becoming free because the bad guys are having such trouble, but this is when you should get a gap higher opening. So it really doesn't matter. 16, 28, 34 would be better, but you get a gap opening in silver of 20 to 30 cents higher, and then it's off to the races.
Okay.
And the potential's there, and that's the difference today, no matter what happens, because we're so used to the Morgan coming in and bombing the thing, that the potential is here for something totally different. And what is the way silver's traded the past 3, 4, 5 days is totally different than what we've seen for years. And I can't stress that enough. And at least if we close well today or in this area, I'll be smiling all weekend. I mean, they may turn it into a frown on Monday, but at least it'll make for a very, very hopeful weekend, especially with this new Shanghai exchange coming on board, like you mentioned.
Yeah, and from all indications, the green light is for April the 19th, which I know that in the past they've pushed it out, on 2 or 3 different occasions, but there's been no news except April 19th is the date, and it's going to happen. So that is, to me, that's as exciting as what's happening with silver right now, because of the potential and the long-term aspects of what that can do. Because if you look at the fact that gold is going to be offered, physical gold is going to be offered for a spot price in yuan or the RMB, the renminbi, and you couple that with the yuan renminbi being added to the SDR basket, then now all of a sudden your implications start multiplying over and over and over, and the picture starts getting a lot bigger than just gold, than just China, than just the CME or the LBMA. The picture starts getting much more expansive, and that's
Well,
what
that's
has me excited.
well, you're right to be excited that way, Rory, because it all, from my standpoint, my Gata standpoint, it's taking control away from the people doing all the damage here in the United States and having total control. And all of a sudden, it's like, they're up against a different mechanism to stop what they've been doing. And of course, perhaps again, another tipping point thing will be these lawsuits against Deutsche Bank and these other bullion banks, where people realize this is what they have done all these years. It's what we've been screaming about all this time. And of course, this is, I imagine, it's just one aspect of it. It's what
Yeah.
they've done in the United States that is, it's really going to be a scandal of epic proportions. And eventually, a lot of people, most people don't care about gold and silver, but they will care about what it has meant and why the gold cartel has done it to the rich and the powerful, the banks and the U.S. government. And when all of a sudden, if there's markets all of a sudden tank and their money's gone and gold and silver are screaming and everybody wants to know what the heck is going on, that's when finally the press is going to come to God and say, and ask us to explain the whole thing, or us and many other people in our camp. And it'll be a big change. We'll see if we're close to that. All you can do is uh, hope for it at this point, because we while you don't want anything bad to happen for other people in the markets, all we want is the truth to get out there, because the longer it's kept at wraps, the worse debacle is going to lead to. And that's what we've tried to explain to people. The longer this goes on, the worse it's going to be for financial markets.
That's exactly right. And as far as those people waking up and coming to an understanding of what has happened, that I'm not sure that I'm ready for that day, because that could be, things could get out of control pretty quickly when when people begin to realize that, like you said, what the actual implications of what has been going on with gold and silver and how it has impacted their everyday life. People don't understand that this impacts their ability to be free. They don't, but they will. There will be enough of them to understand that. The masses will never get it, but a good chunk of people outside of our camp will come to understand what has happened. They aren't paying attention right now, but hopefully over the course of the next year, as this whole thing begins to unfold, then I'm hoping that we're going to see this giant rush of people going, "Oh my God." That's what I'm looking for.
Well, I think you're right on the money, and they're going to want answers, just like you're talking about, Rory. And it's coming, and it's just a matter when it appears. And none of us know when that is. And going back to how silver's trading, at least it's finally something is different. And that's what we wanted to see in the price action. Not hopes, woulda, coulda, here's what's going to happen. No, no, no. This is different. Now, we'll see what it leads to. But as we go into the weekend, should it hold, it is different and potentially extremely meaningful. We'll see.
Well, we're hopeful. We're very, very hopeful, and it's a very, very exciting time. And I am so grateful to you, Bill, and your partner, Chris Powell, and the work that you guys have been doing for the past 17 years and helping to relieve humanity of this plague that is now coming to light as the plague that it is. And folks, please support Bill. Go to lametropolecafe.com, lametropolecafe.com, where you'll find all of Bill's work. He offers a 2-week free subscription to see if it's something that you find of value, and I can just about assure you that you will. And Bill, I really appreciate all the time, and more importantly, I really, truly, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate the work that you guys have been doing with GATA.
Well, and Roy, thank you so much for getting a hold of me. And they also can go to www.gata.org, where Chris Powell does a great job, and they can have that stuff for free. And Chris is a great man. He's over in Asia now, and was in Hong Kong for a conference in Singapore, and he's fighting a good fight. So we're out there, and thanks again. And hopefully next week is going to be a great one. We'll see.
We will find out. And Bill, I will talk with you soon.
Thank you. Thanks, Roy. Bye-bye.